What's up, guys? Welcome to a special Sunday evening edition of Amped Up, and it is special because we are in the middle of halftime. A big NFL game between my Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. We are currently losing 13-3. We are not playing our best football, nowhere close. And because of that, when you take on another good team and you're not playing very well, you're going to be losing 13-3. That, of course, has BC heated, fully amplified. So I said, you know what? It's halftime. I'm amped up. I got a fresh coffee. I said, let's fire up. Let's amp up the studio. Let's give the unit a special amped up. And that's what we're going to do. It's going to be AEW heavy, just so you guys know. There's a lot of good stories coming out of World's End. So a lot of stories revolving AEW. So that's going to be kind of the focal point. Stories like Dax Harwood responding to criticism to Edge Adam Copeland. Does Dax have a point, or is it just stupidity being spewed? We'll talk about it. It's a fair conversation to have. We're also going to talk TK. He was finally asked straight up about the struggles that AEW is currently facing, but TK almost puts the blinders on, and he keeps going to this one thing to show that AEW is not struggling. Is it delusion at its finest, or worse, depending on how you look at it? Is it absolute delusion, or is this just Tony Khan deflecting? It has to be one of the two. If you're wondering, BC, what exactly did he say? What are we talking about? We will go over it in this Amped Up. And we also have 3 former WWE talents that were backstage at World's End. This has a lot of fans, a lot of individuals thinking, is 1, 2, or all 3 going to sign with AEW eventually? To which BC responds, none of them should. And that's with much respect to them. I'll explain why I say that. But some individuals are like, all right, this person and that, or at least that person has to sign. No, BC says 0 of them need to sign. We'll talk about it. And there'll be some WWE sprinkled in as well. We'll talk Rhea Ripley not getting the title. And former big WWE writer, big writer for WWE, back in the Attitude Era actually, stating she shouldn't be getting it. She doesn't need it. She should not get it. That, of course, got a lot of fans heated, like, no, it's got to go to Rhea Ripley. Well, what if BC said, I agree with this former writer? There's no need for it. We'll talk about it briefly. And The Rock's status for the big Netflix debut of Monday Night Raw. We have it, at least like a Clorox wipe. 99.99% we are sure of The Rock's status for this big Netflix event, the Raw debut, treating it almost like it's a mini WrestleMania. And, of course, I got a little bit of ratings for you. Raw's rating this week and Dynamite's rating. WWE's Raw, the flagship, and AEW's Dynamite, their flagship. And this is one of those things where Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Tony Khan can agree on one thing. Run. Don't look back. Do not check the numbers. You're not going to want to see them. But BC did, and you guys are going to hear about it, man. I have the Raw rating and the Dynamite rating. Hunter and Tony Khan probably did not want to see these numbers. So that's all coming up. I'm going to wrap up the cold open teaser with this, because I know a lot of you guys are thinking, did I catch World's End? I want to hear your thoughts on this match, BC, or can you just give us a full review in totality? Guys, I did not catch World's End. There's no other way to put it. My Saturday was booked anyway, but I can't tell you that I would have went out of my way to catch it live. I'd be absolutely BSing you. There are some things I do want to catch after the fact. Hopefully within the next 48 hours, I can try to catch these things. And that's because A, I just want to see them for myself, and B, I want to talk about them in future uploads. So there's some things I do want to see, right? Some big stories last night. Copeland comes back. Adam Copeland, Edge, Kenny Omega. As we told you guys, we broke it last week on this channel that Kenny Omega, ahead of his big Japan date, early January, Tony Khan wants him to return at his event, World's End first. So we talked about that last week. That's exactly what happened with Kenny Omega. And then Mercedes went 24 minutes with Statlander. So there was a lot of things that happened, at least newsworthy. But in totality, I was not able to catch, or any of this event, I was not able to catch. And that's why I'm not going to speak World's End, because I just don't want to speak on the headlines after the fact. I actually want to see this for myself. That way I can speak on it and actually have validity in my words. I hope that makes sense, man. That's how I like to review things. So that's why we're not going to talk too much World's End. I just didn't catch it. It was just last night. I've been busy. And halftime isn't that long, guys. So be happy that we're going to cover these subjects. And some of this has to do with it, like the 3 names, former WWE names that were backstage at World's End. Dax Harwood responding to Adam Copeland criticism. TK asked about AEW struggles. I mean, a lot of this was at the media scrum afterwards. So, in a roundabout way, we'll be touching base on World's End. I did not hear it was a bad event, by the way. Unfortunately, I'm hearing that a lot of people chose not to watch, either couldn't or just made the decision not to get the pay-per-view. And that I don't like to hear. That actually sucks to hear because they're putting on this big event. You want more people to view it, catch that buzz, more for us to talk about when BC is able to catch some of these matchups. But unfortunately, what I am hearing is a lot of people did not catch this event. BC was one of them. So that's kind of all the cold open, guys. The cold open, a little bit longer, but I did want to just state that I did not catch World's End. So I'm not deliberately just trying not to talk about it. I didn't see it. So my guess is a lot of you guys didn't either. Because you guys, a lot of people were not talking about this event. It kind of flew under the radar, man. And I understand the buzz around AEW is under the radar right now. The ratings are under the radar. I get it. But I'm hearing it was better than last year's World's End, right? I understand the bar was kind of low from last year, but listen, improvement is improvement. I want to talk, let's just start knocking these down because before you know it, the game is going to be back on. And who knows, maybe the Packers will actually play decent football in the second half. I know that's a lot to ask right now. Talk ratings real quick. Raw rating this week, 1.4 rating, guys. Their demo was tied for the lowest in the entire calendar year. Now you say, BC, it's around Christmas time. BC, it's a tape show. BC, it was my grandmother's birthday. BC, we were bobbing for apples. BC, we were celebrating Easter 4 or 5 months early. You can come up with any excuse in the world, right? BC, the dog show was on. BC, it was, they were doing America's Funniest Home Videos, Best of Edition. Guys, whatever, man. You can tell me they were replaying Zoobilee Zoo episodes or old school Power Rangers. Remember the original version? Before they added a Green Ranger? Guys, it doesn't matter, man. Any excuse you can give. This is what they did. They phoned it in at the end of the year, and this is what you're going to get, a 1.4 rating, man. So you can use all the excuses you want. Some may have validity. But at the end of the day, all that's going to be remembered in the history books is you scored a 1.4 because your product was not good enough for people to view. They didn't feel like it was must-see. It was more must-miss. Raw pulls a 1.4. They have one more go at this Monday. This will be the last Raw ever on the USA Network. You got to believe if there's any buzz within human beings to watch this show, it would be this. But we'll see. 1.4. And even if there is, I mean, how much more can you go? I don't see them scoring a 1.7 plus on Monday. Or the top of the line they would hit is a 1.7, I should say. Getting a 1.8 and getting 400,000 viewers from the week before is going to be mightily hard unless Hunter actually puts some creative effort into this show. A 1.4 for Raw. Now, on the flip side, Dynamite. Dynamite scored 574,000 viewers this week. 574, down yet again. Gone other days of trying to get back to 900,000. Remember, it was trying to get to 1 million. They were at 950 for a long time. And then it was like, oh no, we can't get 9. And then there was that string where they couldn't even get 8 and then 7. And now it looks like 600,000 viewers is the new struggle. Listen, get your feet planted from underneath you. Start to put your best foot forward, do your best creative, and hopefully over time you will start to nudge forward. Like my Packers, right? They're stopping us at every play, but just put together your best offense, drive, keep doing it, 44 dive, right up the middle. Don't look back, don't look to your sides, 44 dive straight up the middle, and hopefully you start nudging forward. That's what AEW has to do, because you can't go back to 500,000 and below. That is catastrophic. That's when networks have to start going, this deal is not working anymore. We may have to cancel this. Happened to Rampage, bro. Rampage stayed on the airwaves far too long. A lot of people believe Collision is next up to get Das Boot. You can't go underneath 5. You have to get your feet down, get your footing, get your ducks in a row, and try your hardest to get back to at least 6, right? Baby steps. Crawl, then walk, then run, as Mox recently said. But it is ever so true. 574, an absolute drop-off of epic proportions. Christmas edition, though, right? I mean, if you want to send excuses over, I mean, this was a literal Christmas edition. But metrics are showing us a lot of people were watching TV this Christmas. Ratings were kind of bumped up in many areas. A lot of people viewing television. So take that info and do with it what you will. But TV was on, man. TVs were on for most families, whether they were celebrating and even watching it, who knows? Some people just put on the Christmas Story and put it on a loop for 24 hours. But 574, guys. That's and you can blame Christmas all you want. The problem with that is they're always around 575 to 6. And I'm being generous with 6. So both Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Tony Khan probably did not want to view the numbers this week. Maybe they didn't, but we did. So we discussed it a little bit. There it is. Not good. The new year cannot come fast enough, probably for all of these companies. Hunter is hoping that the Netflix is bringing all the buzz in for the Raw debut, because Hunter's creativity is all over the place. If it's even rearing, it's ugly dome piece. I'm not seeing too much creative. So if they're banking on just being on Netflix to be the uber creativity that brings everybody back to WWE, after a couple, 2-3 weeks, that's going to fall on its face. The one thing they have working for them, it's Mania season. So this is usually when people come back anyway. So this Hunter Hearst Helmsley, I hope, does not use Netflix and WrestleMania season as a crutch. We need better creative. And AEW just needs to change basically everything right now, sadly. It's already, halftime's already over, and I'm just getting pumped up, man. I'm just getting pumped up. I'm just getting amplified. The coffee is this, like, I made this coffee, double shot extra. I made that damn near to perfection. So I could easily go 2 to 3 hours with you guys right now with this upload, but I gotta kind of rapid fire these because the game is on. I don't know if I actually do want to watch the Red Dead. Vikings are whooping that ass already, man. They're already at the 50-yard line. Do we know what defense? Can we spell defense? Does anybody want to play it? And there's another 25-yard pass into our territory. Awesome. Great. Nobody wants to play football on the green and gold today. Anyway, let's keep this rolling, man. Let's keep it WWE, and then we'll go full throttle AEW. Vince Russo, former big WWE creator for WWE, especially during the Attitude Era, one of the biggest influential people in that era. He recently made a controversial statement. I know he does that often, from what I'm hearing. But this one kind of was like, dude, no, you got to put it on her. It was about Rhea Ripley, and Vince Russo said, well, Rhea should not be getting the championship. She simply doesn't need it. Keep it on Liv. She could benefit more from it. A lot of people are, of course, the backlash is, no way, man. Rhea's the bigger star. Rhea needs to have it. The whole story is for Rhea to get it back. Guys, I'm with Vince Russo on this, man. I've been preaching this forever on this channel, or the over 5 years I've had the channel creating on it. I told you guys, there's some wrestlers that don't need a championship, or it's just not the time. I always bring up The Undertaker, right? When he first came into WWE, it was years before he got a world title. Now, there was that weird thing, Survivor Series, Tuesday night in Texas with Hulk Hogan, and he had it for like a couple nights. But other than that, dude, you look at all his WrestleManias, he was never going for championship. He was against Jimmy Snuka, Jake Roberts, King Kong Bundy, you name it. WrestleMania 13, he finally came across Sid Justice. Psycho Sid Justice. And I think then, WrestleMania 13, he finally hoisted that championship. And that was around the time where everybody was kind of jumping ship over to WCW. So they were running out of people. They said, Taker, you got to be like, You got to be like the flag bearer that's going to hold up the championship. But if that wasn't the case, I don't think Taker would be getting it at 13 either. Just didn't need it. And he was already from the jump one of the biggest stars, larger than life. And there was just many wrestlers that they don't need the title specifically or especially initially. Right? Sometimes people just, like, oh, they have to get this title. The title is going to benefit from being on them, and they're going to benefit from the title. And then there's situations where, like, why is that title on this dude or gal? It's not needed. Guys, to sum this up, Rhea getting this championship, and then what? The booking is either going to be the same or even more detrimental. That's what we're starting to see with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, right? These individuals today are getting championships, and their booking is somehow getting worse. So then it doesn't benefit the title, and it doesn't benefit the person carrying it. Instead, it's like an anchor that's dragging the wrestler down. Rhea doesn't need that right now. Rhea doesn't need a championship. Sack the dude. Come on, he's got 10 seconds to throw that. And because he had 10 seconds, touchdown Vikings 20-3. Getting an old school ass whooping right now. Beautiful. Unreal. Not even Jefferson either. It's Addison getting these getting these touchdowns and getting these passes. Unreal. But with Rhea Ripley right now, she needs good booking. That's it. Throw a title on her if the time calls for it. This doesn't. Rhea Ripley is in desperate need of solid booking. You guys know that. There's been a huge drop-off. When her and Damian were finally removed from Judgment Day, there was a lot of momentum. A lot of fans. Even BC was given a second look. I've never been a big Rhea Ripley fan or Damian Priest fan, but I've always respected them, and I love the fact that they were willing to push them and that they have good fan bases. But they had all the momentum to even make BC look over and go, all right, let's see what they do with them. Here we are months later, and guys, Damian Priest does not move the needle at all, and Rhea Ripley barely is moving it more so than Damian. That's the sad truth. So is throwing her a championship by defeating Liv Morgan to Hunter, that's going to be the be-all, end-all, right? That's the end of the story. That's it. You guys got the payoff. What if Liv keeps it and drops it in the future against somebody else? And what if in the meantime, in the whole time that that's happening, Rhea is involved with good stories and epic feuds, right? To the point where the title is secondary, kind of. You need to see Rhea and what she's going to do next with whoever she's working with. That's what they always used to do back in the day with people like Taker and such. You just wanted to see them in their feuds. You could do that with Stone Cold. Stone Cold didn't need championships. He got them. But you could have had Stone Cold and all of these awesome stories he was telling, and none of them needed a championship. Build Rhea Ripley up, then start talking titles. But if we're just saying Rhea Ripley is the only one that could beat Morgan right now, the title has to go to Rhea, then what is what I would ask? Okay, Rhea's got the title now. Now what? What's her booking? You trust Hunter Hearst Helmsley to just catapult her to the moon? Because I don't. And we know that because when she had all the momentum in the world, it fell off rapidly. It was the reverse rocket. Instead of going up, straight down. Dug a tunnel faster than a groundhog. Anyway, controversial statement by Vince Russo, but I'm in the camp of no. You don't have to throw championships on everybody. First and foremost, deliver good booking. Build the wrestler up to a point where we need to see that title change hands now. Flipping over to AEW. It's a good thing we're going into the third quarter with this recording because we're getting an ass whooping right now. Like I said, 20-3, right? It's in a commercial now, but thank goodness I'm occupied with this upload. I want to start with Dax Harwood. This was I understand where Dax is coming from here, right? It's a buddy of his, Edge, Adam Copeland. All of the AEW wrestlers especially are just done with the criticism. It's done with everybody talking about the product and how it needs help and it's struggling. So Dax was recently asked about, just Adam Copeland and doing that jump from the cage. Is it necessary? And the feedback afterwards, whatever he was asked, his response was this, and I quote, "People like to criticize what we do. They question him. This is Adam fucking Copeland. If he wants to jump off a cage, let him jump off a cage. If he breaks his leg, he breaks his leg. End quote. So it's the old motto, right? He's an adult. He can do whatever he wants. He's built the legacy. He's made a name for himself. He has busted his ass to be able to earn the right to do whatever he wants in that ring. On one hand, absolutely, right? BC feels the same way most of the time. These are grown adults. If they want to rock, if that's how they want to live their life, it's not affecting anybody else. Let them do what they're going to do. What they want to do, let them live how they want. Mike Tyson, right? A lot of people going, he should not get in that ring. They don't care if Jake Paul takes it easy on him. He's just too old. He has no business training the way that he's training to get in that ring and then actually putting on that fight. A lot of people were against that idea. I was in the camp of, dude, if he wants to rock and that's how he wants to live his life and that's what's getting him amplified and that's what's motivating him and that's the pleasure that gets him waking up and enjoying life, let Mike Tyson rock out. I doubt very much that's the full passion when Edge woke up every morning leading up to that spot. I doubt Edge was like, I have to jump off of this cage. But maybe it was. But I understand on that one hand, Dax is completely correct. Dude's an adult, 51 years old, correct? Built up the legacy. He has earned the right to have Tony Khan approve any spot he wants to do. I understand that on one hand. On the other hand, what the are we talking about? The dude is 51. Jumping off a cage for viewership that now can't even hit 6 and at the time was struggling to hit 700,000 viewers. You're 51. You have built up the equity. I think what most fans were saying, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think where the disconnect is with Dax Harwood, or maybe even Tony Khan or many in AEW, and the fan criticism for what Copeland did on that night jumping from the cage. I think the disconnect is nobody is really saying don't do it or that you shouldn't do it if that's truly what you're passionate about, if that's what you really wanted to do. The disconnect is many fans are saying, what is the reasoning for it? It is absolutely unnecessary to do it. So unless there's the risks far outweigh the reward. And a dude who had just gotten to AEW he said he has all these people that he wanted to face and there was this bright future and you're going to jeopardize it all by jumping off of this cage at 51 years old. I hope you guys understand that the risk, the chances of getting hurt on that jump at 51 greatly rise than if you're just, 21 jumping off the cage, which, by the way, there still is risk for injury. But what is the risk reward for Copeland? That's what fans were trying to figure out. What is the meaning of this? Because you're not teaching the younger wrestlers coming up that feel like they have to do all of these spots to get a reaction. What is that teaching them? Do that at 21. Do it at 31, 41, 51. Make sure that you're jumping off cages and taking the risk. He might have been fine. He didn't even sprain an ankle, right? Let's say he jumped off that cage. He was perfectly fine. He was wrestling the Wednesday after. I think people would still be asking, dude, what was the purpose of that? It's not even saying the word, you shouldn't have done that. It's what's the purpose? What is the need, dude? You built up the legacy that you don't have to do that. You should at this point be all about the psychology. Taker could come back for a match tomorrow and he wouldn't have to do any crazy spot. He could come down, choke slam, maybe a pile driver, some chops, some punches, a kick. People would be off their, just out of their minds. Jaws drop, flipping out. You don't have to do that. It's not teaching the younger wrestlers anything beneficial. The only outcome could be you get injured. Because again, even if you don't, it doesn't do anything. Nobody's talking about it the next day if you land it and you're not injured. The only reason we are talking about it is because you got injured. That's the disconnect. Don't just do shit to do it. It's not about fans just looking out for your safety. No, at that point, yeah, you say no, thank you, but no thank you. Okay? The human being themselves can make their own decision, especially if they are professional in what they do. So thanks for your concern, but no thanks. I get that, trust me. But this is fans going, we're seeing this too much in wrestling. And now it's getting to the point where people who have already made their names trying to stay relevant are doing all of this obnoxious maneuvering at the top of cages. Or going through flaming tables. There's no need for it. That's not what's lacking in pro wrestling. I think that's what fans were trying to say, but nobody wanted to hear it. And Dax Harwood to this day is saying people like to criticize what they do and they question him. It's Adam Copeland. If he wants to jump off a cage, let him jump off a cage. If he breaks his leg, he breaks his leg. In simplistic forms, yes, true. But if you just dig a little bit deeper and to see why the conversation arose in the first place, it's because there is no need for it. That's not what is hurting pro wrestling. We need more in-ring psychology. We need more of the storytelling, less of these type of spots. And there's no need to take a risk like that, get injured, and be out the rest of 2024, because that's exactly what happened to Adam Copeland Edge. Trust me, BC is down with, dude, if they want to do it, it's not hurting anybody else, let them rock. I'm down with that. But there is a flip side here, man. This is one of those conversations, it's not straight black and white. This was a decision that if BC was actually holding the creative pen and Edge said, I really want to do this, I'm going Edge, can we at least talk about this? I want to ask you a question. What is the purpose, bro? Because even if you land this, ain't nobody talking about this past 24 hours from now. It's not going to bring in 10,000 more viewers because you did it. It's not going to help your family one bit. Do you really need that on your highlight reel when you leave AEW? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's that important. Interception, Packers, go. 40, 30, 25, 20. He lost the ball. Oh, wow. He lost the ball at the 15-yard line. He just dropped it. Luckily, Green Bay got it back. So we're at the 15-yard line, third quarter, 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. 20-3, Vikings still whooping our ass, but a big turnover. So that's the conversation. So Dax, I understand what Dax is saying. Calm down, dude. It's a valid conversation. Fans have a valid purpose for asking what is the purpose for these type of moves being made. It's not necessary, man. Just think it through. We needed Edge to be utilized much differently than just doing these weird, stupid spots. That's not what we needed from Edge or anybody right now in AEW. We need more of the in-ring psychology. We need that story to be told more amplified. We don't need Edge going up to the top of a cage and doing a jump. It's not worth the reward. There is no reward. It's just risk. There's a fine line between acceptable and stupidity. Perhaps Edge found that out. Maybe Dax Harwood will understand that in the future. Moving on. 3 names were backstage at World's End. This is the report that we are hearing. Those 3 names are Baron Corbin, Tyler Breeze, and Top Dollar. This leads a lot of individuals to go, hey, which one of these 3 or maybe 2 or maybe all 3 are going to wind up in AEW? Because I doubt they were just backstage. They must have had some conversations with Tony Khan. Maybe a couple of those conversations are going to lead to another talk, right? Another meeting with Tony Khan, with TK, and maybe 1 or 2 of these individuals get signed by AEW. So it's an interesting little conversation. Everyone's having fun with it. Dude, I wouldn't mind seeing Baron Corbin there. No. Tyler Breeze, man. Tyler Breeze deserves so much more. I wasn't done seeing Tyler Breeze. I don't think his career should be over. I want to see Tyler Breeze in AEW. Guys, what are we doing? AEW has 8,452 people on their roster. Slight exaggeration. But I think it's 8,452, something like that. Where are you putting Baron Corbin? Baron Corbin couldn't move a needle in WWE. He had 13 different characters, right? We've went over them many times in the past. From a King Corbin to a Constable Corbin to a Bro Corbin to a Happy Corbin to a Lone Wolf Corbin, Wrestling God Corbin with JBL. There's been so many versions. None of them could get over. None of them. It just didn't work. Poor booking, of course. Poor execution, poor creative, no doubt. But Baron just didn't have the personality and charisma to get over. So now in AEW, when they're struggling, you're going to take a segment, 15 minutes out of your 2-hour show, one of them anyway, on Dynamite or Collision. You're going to take 15 minutes and you're going to dedicate it to a Baron Corbin segment / match. Okay, good luck with that. While another individual has to sit at catering or be told to sit home because they have nothing for him, Baron Corbin is now getting your time. You guys know I'm right. I'm just speaking. Much respect to Baron, but somebody has to ask these questions, man, and that's what this channel is about. Real talk. Have the discussions, man. Touchdown Packers run in by Jacobs. It is now 10-20, 20-10 in favor of the Vikings. Well, I'll keep you updated. I do want to watch the fourth quarter in totality. For a while there, I was thinking I don't want to watch the rest of this game in totality, right? Just have it over there and just keep talking pro wrestling, man. Be less furious. There it is. Field goal is good. So it's 20-10, guys, third quarter. If anybody can, I'm probably the only Packer fan right now spewing this. But Baron Corbin going to AEW, I don't... Where are you putting him? Who are you putting on the shelf now because you just hogged another spot? What is it going to do for AEW? What is Baron Corbin doing, guys? Nobody's asking this. They just want to see new. More. Sometimes less is more. Quality over quantity. They need to get rid of people on their roster, not add more. I like Tyler Breeze. I do. You want to see Tyler Breeze in AEW to do what? Have a tag team partner and maybe go against the Young Bucks? Do you want Tony Khan to bring back Ricky Starks and then have him take on Tyler Breeze because it'll be, a banger in the main event of a Collision? Tyler Breeze is not going to benefit from AEW aside from a good paycheck. And AEW is not going to, no needle is being moved because they brought in Tyler Breeze. And as far as the third one, Top Dollar, stop. In WWE, he was called Flop Dollar. Michael Cole made fun of this dude left and right any which way he could because he made Michael Cole look like an idiot. I remember Dollar tried to jump over the top rope. Michael Cole was selling it. He's like, he's gonna fly. But he didn't fly. He never took off. Top Dollar just got hung up on the top rope and totally just awkwardly flipped over on his stomach and fell to the outside. Literally after that, he was called Flop Dollar. And Michael Cole looked like an idiot because he was really into the call. And he was upset with Dollar. And then Dollar just started... the way he was trying to sell, like, oh, it was just a mistake, or, oh, we all had fun with it. No, Cole was actually pissed off. Cole was actually like, a lot changed after that. And not too long after that, Dollar was out of the company. So what? Top Dollar goes to AEW and does what? Again, I'm just asking the question, and does what for AEW? Gets the rating from 574K to 599 maybe? Is Top Dollar bringing in 25,000 viewers maybe? Maybe. I mean, if that's honestly what you want to see from Top Dollar, do you want to see Top Dollar versus Luchasaurus? Do you want to see Mox versus Top Dollar? Or is it just going to be Flop Dollar and maybe they lose 25,000 more viewers? I'm asking the question. Baron Corbin, Tyler Breeze, and Top Dollar. And we're really asking who's going to go to AEW. They were backstage. They were talking to Tony. How about none of them sign so that AEW can get their footing back, their ducks in a row, and start to create with the wrestlers they already have that are not being created properly. Nothing is being made that is making people tune in. And these three names are not needle movers. Sorry, not sorry for that amplified truth. Let's move on. Tony Khan recently asked about AEW struggles. Tony Khan's response is either delusion or straight deflection. So Tony Khan responds, talking about AEW struggles, he responds with the tickets that were sold for Wembley. 81,000, and they try to undermine us and say it was only 73,000, but even if that was the case, 73,000 is amazing. So that's why business is not in a rut. That's why we are not struggling. That's why we're not at a low point, because look at Wembley. That's his excuse and his reason for everything. In 2024, he's hanging everything on Wembley. Guys, it was one show. It was out of the U.S. Of course, you can make a quick buck out of the U.S. Everybody knows that. That's where WWE made record revenue in 2024. They decided to leave the U.S. because there's a lot of money to be made. That was a lot of their revenue, guys. Ratings are going down. Numbers are going down. Merchandise sales are going down. Everything is down. Morale, everything down. Morale in the fans, mind you. Fans morale, because there's nothing that's making you tune in every week, right? There's no must-see aspect. You can literally miss 2-3 months of Raw, join back in 2 to 3 months later, and it's right where it left off. The same rematches, the same inconsistency and randomness. So leaving the U.S., of course, will bring you in revenue. So they left the U.S., they went to Wembley for this show, and they pulled 73 or 81, whatever it is. Let's call it down the middle. 76,000 tickets sold or seats occupied. Good for you. You took the low-hanging fruit. You took the easy way. You went over to Wembley, and you got a lot of people to go to the show. But aside from that, what else? Anything else he can say as to why they're not struggling is the big TV deal. The problem is it's not a big TV deal. They saw some increase. It was nowhere near what Tony was hoping for. That was the whole holdup, guys. Why do you think it took so long? They could not come to a deal. Finally, AEW raised the stakes a little bit for Tony, but Tony had to give up a lot more. So I hope that makes sense. This is not a deal that Tony wanted, not even close. And that's the only two things he keeps going to. That's not what we're talking about, right? We're talking about why can't the ratings kind of subside and start to slowly but surely, consistently start to improve? Why is that not happening? Why is the fan morale and the fan intrigue in the storylines or lack thereof? Why is it so inconsistent or just void? Why are their own diehard fans turning their backs and going, dude, I can't do it anymore, and leaving the product? That's what we're asking. That's what I want to hear Tony go, okay, well, here's the deal, X, Y, and Z, and we plan to do X, Y, and Z in 2025 to flip this and first and foremost get our diehards back, and then start to bring in casual fans and people that are just maybe roaming the channels. We want them to stop on AEW, right? Like sell everybody that there is a brighter future ahead. Instead, Tony Khan just says, I don't know what you guys are talking about. AEW business is booming. We sold Wembley out nearly, right? 81,000, not 73. We got a new TV deal. So we're just going to act like everything else in the fans' reception to this product, we're going to act like everything's hunky-dory? Wembley is Tony Khan's. So it's delusion or it's deflection of the actual truth. But either one is not good. If asked this question in the future, Tony Khan has to answer it truthfully. Yes, it's not good. Yes, this is what we plan on. I had to do a little stoppages there as the Vikings are about to score again, so I had to just see how we are collapsing on defense. So all apologies there. One more story before we end this, because I do want to watch the whole fourth quarter to most likely watch my Packers get destroyed, but we need to know where the issues are. This is what Tony Khan should be doing, right? See where the weaknesses and the faults are and the mistakes and the miscues. Address them and improve them so they're not there the next week. So even as Packer Nation, man, we might not be in the video room. Might not be one of the coaches, but we all rise as Packer Nation so we can all come together and address the issues truthfully. That way, that gets to that locker room. Trust me, it does. And they can make the necessary improvements, because right now our defense is just being walked on. So that's unacceptable. So I do want to see exactly what is happening, and the fourth quarter will tell us a lot about our team going into the playoffs. Do we have heart? Or are we going to give up? Which is it? So the last topic I'm going to go over now, guys, is The Rock, Netflix. We have the status on him, or at least we believe, like a Clorox wipe, 99.99% sure The Rock will be in LA for the Netflix debut of Monday Night Raw. And that is all signed. This is reputable sources, if you will, my people, but also other reputable sources I'm hearing this from. They're pretty much confirming it. I was not able to double verify the outside sources, but they're pretty I mean, they're secure in their announcement of their confirmation. So, I mean, that holds weight to BC. But because I'm not able to double verify it, I'm basically getting the same word from my own people. I just can't get the double verification, so I can't say 100%. But, guys, 99.99%. The Rock is a lock. A lot of members of his team will be in LA starting on the 6th, which is that Monday. That night, of course, is the big debut on Netflix. And The Rock is supposedly staying in LA for a day or two afterwards. So are they going to be filming some stuff for, say, WrestleMania, for future Netflix episodes, for Monday Night Raw? Who knows? But The Rock and his team is supposed to be in LA for several days. So remains to be seen, man. Very interesting note. But The Rock will be in Los Angeles for business. All right, him and his team are going to be there. Well, on the 6th, Raw happens to be having this big show on Netflix, their debut. I just don't see any way, along with Jonathan Cena and so many others, I don't see how The Rock is not on this show. And hearing that every reputable source can now back up what they're hearing is the same exact thing that BC was thinking, I'm going to go ahead and say it to you guys, man. The Rock is showing up. That's it. I know I can't say it's 100%, but I'm saying it's 100%. But I can't say it's 100%. I want to say it's 100%, but I'm not saying it's 100%. 99.99. Hopefully. That's my goal, though. The rest of the weekend, I'm going to see if I can get that double verified. And you guys will know. But until next time, and there will be that next time, that's what I got for you guys, a special amped up Sunday evening edition. This went a lot longer. This was only supposed to be for, like, honestly, guys, I was going to try to ding this up in about 20, 25 minutes. That didn't happen. Just a reckless game by the Packers right now has me furious, so I'm amplified. I got a fresh coffee that was actually really good, really well made by yours truly. And there's a lot of good discussion. So you know what? It went a lot longer. You guys benefited from it. I guess I did too, right? I was distracted by this just bad game so far from the Packers. Anyway, guys, I'm going to watch the rest of the fourth quarter and probably yell a lot. So I'm going to continue to be amplified with a lot of coffee. Hopefully you guys do too. 44 Dive, that's a wrap. Until next time, there will be that next time. BC saying salute.